Hi, I'm Kate Harrison, a board-certified behavior analyst with DiNovi Associates. Are you a behavior analyst? Do you ever have difficulty staying on task or finding motivation to get some of the not very exciting or menial tasks of our job done? Well, this video is for you. Behavior analysis does not discriminate. I often hear behavior analyst colleagues and friends say, I can't use behavior analysis on myself, but you're wrong. We might not be able to do formal interventions on ourselves, but we can reach into our ABA toolbox and pull out some of our resources to increase our own motivation and productivity. So in this video, I'm going to be offering you 4 tips to increase your own productivity with behavior analytic strategies. Tip number 1, this is Grandma's Law, the Premack principle. Take a look at what you do in your free time. When you're not working, what are you doing? Are you playing with your dog? Are you cooking? Are you organizing? Are you taking a gym class? Well, according to Cooper and colleagues, the Premack principle states that making the opportunity to engage in a behavior that occurs at a relatively high rate during baseline contingent on a low frequency behavior, so think the annoying tasks that you put off for days and days and days that you have to get done. So for example, if you constantly are finding yourself playing tug of war with your dog as the due date for your report gets closer and closer, consider this. First, I will complete this portion of the report, then I will play fetch with my dog. Tip number 2, behavioral momentum. Ever hear of high P sequence? This is when you're presented with a series of simple, easy to follow, high probability demands prior to being presented with a more challenging demand. While we typically think of using behavioral momentum to increase compliance with our clients, let's try it with ourselves. So, for example, when I wake up in the morning, I usually write a to-do list out for all of the things that I need to get done that day or that week. However, some mornings are tougher than others, and I might have more annoying tasks than I usually do. So I can either continue to put those tasks off and continue to move them to the next to-do list, or I have been known to use a little behavioral momentum when I write my to-do list. So if you take a look at my list in the morning, you might find some silly tasks such as make coffee, or take a shower, or walk the dog on my to-do list ahead of some of the other things that are a little bit not as much fun for me, like clear out the email inbox, put the dishes away. Crossing off the easy, high probability behaviors is easy, it feels good, and it feels like I'm getting in the groove and have a sense of momentum for my day. Remember, these are different for everyone, so pay really close attention to your own individual high probability and low probability behaviors so that you can really set up your to-do list and your schedule for that day in a way that makes most sense for you. Tip number 3, non-conditioned reinforcement. This one is my favorite. Non-contingent reinforcement is an antecedent strategy in which reinforcing stimuli are delivered or accessed on a fixed interval, completely independent of any target behavior. Raise your hand if you've ever found yourself mindlessly scrolling through social media. And if you didn't raise your hand, I don't believe you. We are all guilty of this, and with access to our phones and social media at all hours of the day, it can be a huge hindrance to our productivity. Try using some non-contingent reinforcement next time you have a project due. For example, if you know your attention span is really limited to 30 minutes max, set a timer and get to work. When the timer goes off, regardless of how much work you've completed, give yourself a break. This will make it less likely for you to need to engage in these off-task behaviors when it's time to work, and has the potential to increase your work productivity during that time. My last tip number 4, is pull in some ACT. ACT is acceptance and commitment therapy. Discover your why. In ACT, we talk about values and committing to actions that may not necessarily be the things that you really want to be doing, but engaging them aligns with what is really truly important to you in the grand scheme of things. So take a step back and think of your why, for why you're in the field and why you do what you do. Everyone's why is different, And I encourage you to identify what your why is so that you can find yourself a way to get through some of the annoying, tedious tasks. That's it. Those are my 4 behavioral tips and tricks to being more productive and finding motivation to get annoying things done. If you liked this video, leave a comment below. Let us know what your tips and tricks are, whether they're behavioral or not behavioral. And please consider sharing this with your friends and colleagues and subscribing to our channel. Thanks for watching.